Hello, my friends. It is October the 29th of 2025. This video is entitled 10 Metal Album Recommendations for Halloween. So first of all, you can obviously hear that my voice is very scratchy, and that's because I've been working at this haunted attraction. It's called Terror on 12. It's out here in southeastern Manitoba. It's a very popular haunted attraction. Hundreds and hundreds of people come here during October of each year. And so I'm one of the actors there, and I've been playing a variety of different roles. And so, yeah, I've been screaming at a lot of people, terrorizing them, and just scaring the absolute shit out of people. It's been a lot of fun, but yeah, it definitely takes its toll on my voice. I have to do one more shift there still. I have to work Halloween, so looking forward to that. But yeah, it definitely takes its toll on the voice, but definitely a lot of fun. Okay, so yeah, I did this video last year, and so we decided why not do it again this year. I picked out 10 more metal albums here for you all, and so yeah, I'm just gonna show you these albums, talk to you about them, and explain to you why they are great choices for Halloween. All right, let's get into this. Up first is Cradle of Filth with Dusk in Her Embrace. Great band, and yeah, they just have a very Halloween type of sound to them. I think many of you would agree with me. You know, I could have chosen any number of their albums, but I find this album to be especially spooky sounding. It's just very atmospheric and just very haunting sounding. I mean, you got so many great songs in here, like Heaven Torn Asunder, A Gothic Romance, and The Graveyard by Moonlight. Excellent album right here. I just feel like this has just a very strong Halloween sound to it. A great album to put on to, especially if you're having like a party on Halloween night, you're hanging with your buddies and you're drinking beers, and you know, just put this album on and bang your head to it. I think it's a very fitting album for Halloween. All right, so yeah, definitely check this one out. Give it a listen to on Halloween for sure. Okay, so that is Cradle of Filth with Dusk in Her Embrace. Up next is Electric Wizard with Black Masses. I had to put this one on there. Electric Wizard. They just have a very Halloween type of sound to them. You know, their albums, you know, they focus so much on like horror movies, and they have horror themes and occult themes throughout their music. I just feel like it's so fitting, very fitting, in fact, for Halloween. And I mean, you have so many great songs in here. The whole album is amazing, but I really like Black Mass, The Night Child, Patterns of Evil. It's just very spooky sounding music. It's heavy and it's dark, but it's also very fun and catchy music. Just a good album to put on to if you're hanging out with your pals or by yourself. Let's say you're going through a cemetery and you know, you just put this album on. I think it really fits the mood. And you know, why not smoke some weed or drop some acid or take some mushrooms or MDMA or whatever it is. And yeah, just trip out on this album on a Halloween night. All right. Okay, that is Electric Wizard with Black Masses. Typo Negative with October Rust. This is just a good album to listen to throughout October. I mean, of course, it's called October Rust, and it just has that kind of autumn feel to it, but also has a Halloween feel too, of course, right? I mean, this band especially just has that kind of spooky Halloween kind of vibe going on. You know, they just talk so much about like vampires and all kinds of occult lore. You know, I just feel like this band is so fitting for Halloween, but also just the fall time as well, and especially this album. I think most people would agree with that. You know, I mean, great songs in here like "Love You to Death," "My Girlfriend's Girlfriend," "Wolf Moon," just to name a few. But this entire album is a masterpiece, and I just feel like this is just so fitting for this time of the year. Give this one a listen for sure. You know, and whether you're hanging out with yourself or you're hanging with some pals at home or whatever it may be, you know, you're driving around. Crank this one up. Very good album for Halloween. Okay, so that is Typo Negative with October Rust. Misfits with Famous Monsters. I mean, not exactly a metal album, it's more of a punk rock album, of course. Misfits, such a classic band, have been around since the late 1970s. And so this is considered to be sort of like the second incarnation of the Misfits. They had a different lineup. Michael Graves, he became the vocalist on this album. I love this album especially. I really do enjoy this album so much. And I think this particular era of Misfits is really good. But yeah, Misfits, of course, such a fitting band for Halloween. I mean, you gotta choose a Misfits album for sure. You could choose any one of their albums, but I just decided to go with this one. Such a fun band with a fun sound. But of course, you know, it's very spooky sounding. They got all the lyrics about, you know, any number of topics like witches and vampires and zombies and all that kind of stuff. It's just a very fun sound. It's very catchy. Yeah, it's really good stuff. And what more can you say? It's the Misfits, god damn it. Excellent stuff. Put this one on at a party and just blast it and drink some beers and just have some fucking fun. That's what I say, you know. Great album for Halloween. Crank this goddamn fucking album up, all right? Okay, this is the Misfits with Famous Monsters. All right. Alrighty, so up next is Rob Zombie with Hellbilly Deluxe. Of course, such a classic album. You have to include this one, obviously, right? Of course, Rob Zombie is well known as being like this Halloween kind of guy, right? You know, he's created all these different horror films and put all this horror themed music out. And yeah, just very catchy music right here. Sort of a blend of like metal with industrial and electronic music and all that kind of stuff. Very classic album, came out in 1998. I mean, I remember when this album came out, I was fairly young still. I was probably about 12 years old or so. But obviously, you have the classics on here like Super Beast, Dragula, Living Dead Girl. I mean, just a perfect album to put on a Halloween evening, you know. Whether you're just driving around or you're at home giving out candy or whatever it is, you're at a party, a good album to put on to at a party and just have some fun and dance around because these songs are just so fun, but also very dark and spooky sounding. Just a good, fun album right here. Okay, so that is Rob Zombie with Hellbilly Deluxe. Up next is Black Sabbath with Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And the reason I chose this one is because there's an interesting story behind this album. They actually recorded this in a particular castle in England. I don't recall the name of the castle, but it was um, claimed to be haunted, and members of this band did in fact have some encounters with ghosts and whatnot. So they did have some paranormal experiences, and other people who have spent time in this castle as well have had paranormal encounters as well. And those encounters that the members of this band had definitely inspired the songwriting on this album. They were in a bit of a funk prior to this album, so they decided to go into this castle and that to kind of to re-inspire them, and it did in fact do that. So those hauntings, those sort of paranormal events that they experienced in that castle definitely inspire these songs. And of course, this is such a great classic heavy metal album right here with so many amazing songs. You got Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, A National Acrobat, Killing Yourself to Live. I mean, just such a phenomenal album right here. But yeah, very interesting background to this album, like I just explained. You can go into it more if you want to do your own research, but very interesting. So that's why I think it's just a good fitting album for Halloween. I mean, you could go with some other Sabbath albums as well. I was considering going with their first album because I feel like their first album has a very spooky and haunting sound to it, as well as other albums of theirs. But you know, especially with the background to this album, I feel like this one was especially fitting. And yeah, definitely put this one on a Halloween evening, whatever you're doing, whether you're driving around or hanging out at home or with your pals or whatever it may be. Just blast this classic. Okay. All right. So there's Black Sabbath with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Okay, Celestia, and I'm going to try to pronounce this album. Apparatia, sumptuous, spectre. I believe that was correct, or at least somewhat accurate. Anyhow, I love this band. I don't really hear many people speak about them, but I've been a huge fan of this French black metal band for quite a number of years now, and they have a very unique style of black metal. Some people describe it as like romantic black metal. It has this very gothic feel to it. It's very atmospheric and dark and sort of depressive sounding, but just has this kind of spooky and Halloween kind of vibe to it as well, right? I mean, it's you'd have to listen to it, and I highly recommend listening to this band and especially this album because it just has this particular mood to it. I feel like it has a good fall time feel to it. When I listen to this album, it just transcends me to like a forest where I'm sort of traversing the forest. It's fall time and it's breezy and cool and it's spooky and it's haunting. That's kind of the vibe that this album gives, and I definitely would recommend this album, especially during this time of the year or on Halloween especially, put this album on, especially if you want to spend some time by yourself, go for a walk in the forest, and definitely a fitting album for that experience. Yeah, definitely check this one out. Again, I don't hear other people speak about this band, but this is a personal favorite of mine, and I feel like this album really fits this time of the year, Halloween and just fall time in general. Of course, you have so many great songs on here, like The Awakening of the Dormant Fiancé and Perverted Decadent Dying Love. Very spooky and very gothic sounding, so definitely give this one a listen. Okay, so that is Celestia with Apparatia, Sumptuous, Spectre. Let me get a drink here for a moment. Let me have some of my decaf coffee. Help clear my voice a little bit. Although I feel like my voice is quite fitting for this video, it's raspy and evil sounding, kind of, right? I think it's quite fitting, in fact. Okay. All right, back to the video here. Okay, so up next is Mercyful Fate with 9. I could have chosen any number of Mercyful Fate albums or even King Diamond albums, right? I decided to go with this one. This is a personal favorite of mine. This is the last album that they released back in 1999. And I feel like this album is especially evil sounding and satanic sounding, compared to maybe some of their other albums. They really up the evil in this album, and it's just so diabolical sounding, but also just fun. King Diamond, of course, known for his horror theatrics, and I think King Diamond and of course Mercyful Fate just have that kind of Halloween vibe to them. All their albums, I would say, they're just so fitting for this time of the year, and I feel like this album is kind of overlooked, but I decided to go with it. I really like it so much, and Last Rites, great song, Sold My Soul, House on the Hill, and The Grave, just to name a few, but this entire album is great from start to finish. So yeah, I mean, this is a banger, that's for sure. If you're hanging out with your pals, drinking beer, smoking weed, whatever, just blast this album on and just bang your goddamn fucking heads to it, all right? All right, definitely give this one a listen to on Halloween. All right, Mercyful Fate with 9. Alrighty. Ghost with Meliora. This came out in 2015. I mean, Ghost, a band that's, of course, associated so much with Halloween. I mean, they're called Ghost, god damn it. But I do enjoy this band so much. They definitely had that kind of fun, spooky sound to them, but very catchy as well. And I mean, I could have chosen some of their other albums. I did choose their first album for my last video that I had done on this last year, but I decided to go with Meliora this time. This album, yeah, I mean, it's just dark and haunting and spooky sounding, and yeah, just so fitting for Halloween. Gotta give this one a listen, that's for sure. I mean, you got some great songs in here, like From the Pinnacle to the Pit, Ceriste, Majesty, Absolution. Some great songs right there, but this entire album is great. So yeah, definitely give this one a listen to on Halloween. I think it's quite fitting for the mood of Halloween and just this time of the year in general. So if you're hanging with some pals or at a party, just chilling, hanging out, put this one on, okay? All right, so that is Ghost with Meliora. And the last album on my list here, decided to go with this one. This is Evoken with a Caress of the Void. This album came out in 2007. This is a funeral doom band, if you're not familiar with them. A personal favorite of mine. I do enjoy quite a bit of funeral doom, and I do like this band quite a bit. I feel like they're a bit different from other funeral doom bands. I mean, their sound is very dark and oppressive sounding, and very, very haunting sounding. But it is fun as well. It's quite dark, but to me, it's just something that you can just immerse yourself in. Just sit down, turn the lights off, light some candles, maybe. It's a good album, I feel, for this time of the year, especially. I think if you want to go to a graveyard, let's say, and bring your Ouija board or perform a seance of some sort and conjure up spirits, this would be a good album to listen to, you know. It's just so evil and spooky and dark sounding. I really recommend that one. So if you are going to do that, if you're going to go to a cemetery and use your Ouija board or hold a seance, I definitely recommend this one. But be cautious because that can be a little bit dangerous, so be careful with all that. I will say that. But yeah, you got lots of great songs on here, like Astray and Eternal Night, Descend the Lifeless Womb. But yeah, great album overall. Definitely check this one out on Halloween. All right, my friends. Okay, so those are my 10 metal album recommendations for Halloween. Let me know what some of your recommendations are for Halloween. I'm very curious to know. So yeah, Halloween, it's just absolutely beautiful. I just love Halloween so goddamn much, and I just love fall as well. It's just a very beautiful time of the year. And I will be acting at this Terror on 12 one more time. I will be there on Halloween night. Definitely looking forward to that. I will be scaring the shit and piss out of a lot of motherfuckers, and so yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, I want to say thank you very much for watching, and I want to say thanks to all the people who watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Take care, my friends. Cheers.